Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc, and you have caught me live on Sunday, June 28th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So do me a favor and type in where you are joining me from around the world. Today, we're going to be on both Facebook and LinkedIn to see who has the better comments. So there you go. I am thrilled to be with you today. I know that there's a lot of news out in the media today about retail, and a lot of people are pausing. A lot of states are having to pause, whereas Europe is opening up. It looks like the U.S. is still deep into rollout of COVID, and there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of scare. So I totally get it. I'm glad you're here today. I'm going to speak to that first. And Alexandra, you made it first. So thanks all the way from, you didn't say where you're from today, though. Sorry about that. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Faluk. Good morning, Cheryl. There's a lot of you here. And I guess I'm not seeing LinkedIn's comments, so I'll answer you guys later as I go. Oh, there's Isa. There you go, from Persia. All right, must be nighttime for you. So I just wanted to just give you a few stories. You know, when I was a kid, I had decided I was going to run away from home. I was pretty miserable. I had a birthday party and nobody came. I mean, it was just an awful day. And so I'm figuring out, okay, so I'm going to run away from home. How am I going to do this? I mean, I'm 9, right? So I decided I'm going to pack a bag and I'm going to just walk down, and I'm going to go down this street, and then I go to that street. And then it starts hitting me in my head like, but I can't leave because not my clothes, and I'd be stealing. So I'm trapped in my mind, right? That I'm miserable and I'm stuck. And that I remember that feeling as if it was yesterday. And, you know, remember 9/11, the morning of 9/11, I actually had a friend who called and said, "Oh my God, turn on the TV. You won't believe what's happened." And I thought she was on drugs or something with all of the hysterics she was saying. And then it was like, oh my God, it's true. And remember, I'm in California. We were on a 3-hour delay, and what that felt like, certainly for that day, and certainly for many days thereafter. And then 2008, I've told you that story many times about losing multiple accounts and having 2 houses trying to figure out my business. And this week, I had a challenge. Something showed up in my professional life, and I felt a twinge of all of that back again. And it was like, okay, here it is. Let's unpack this. Okay, here it is. What's going on? And I felt exactly what it was, that my breathing gotten shallower. I was getting more nervous. I was projecting into the future. I was going back in the past. I was all over the place. And then I just had to remind myself, you got through 9th grade that moment. There was a 9/12. You got through 2008. And I would hope that that would be what you have to focus on this week, because I'll tell you, it's not getting easier. As much as every day we think, oh, so that's behind us now. No, something new, and I just want you to think that when you're going through those moments, because we all have them, there's nobody that doesn't, you have to notice it, what's going on, what's going back, and feel like, oh, so that's what's going on. And then realize like, oh, okay, I've been here before. But I think a lot of people don't realize that they've been here before. And what ends up happening is they amplify it and find other reasons to justify it and pile onto it. And I just don't think it's healthy. So if that works for you, I hope it does. It works for me. Let's be honest, you open the paper and it's like, oh my God. And make no mistake, newspapers who were falling away. Remember, everybody's like, nobody needs a newspaper. No one's reading it. We're all back, because we're all addicted, whether it's Facebook News or it's CNN or whoever it's going to be. And they know it. And they're watching all those clicks, and they're like, oh, so this story about this is going to be clicked a lot. And they write to it. And I don't write to that. But I just think it's up to all of us to realize, if I got through that, I'll get through this. And I hope that you'll take that. Even if you hear nothing else today from me, I hope that you will take that and just realize, when you have that feeling, that you do that work, because no one else can do that work but you, and you're worth nothing to anybody unless you can get over that. So I hope that helps. Hey, Aaron. Oh, from Lake George, Aaron, got a sneaking off up north. That's great. Hey, Shankar from Bangladesh. That's great. Frank from Somerset, Maine. We got several people from Tunisia. John from Tunile. I'm not sure where that is. Dubai. We got people all over the world. So thanks for joining me in today. I am based in the United States, but I have clients all over the world, and I'm glad that you're all here. So let's get to your questions, because that's always interesting. And if you have new questions for me, you can answer them when I'm live, and I will do my best to answer. All right, Jim says, pre-pandemic, my company switched managers from salary to hourly. We lost bereavement time and paid family medical leave. Recently, after the reopening of retailers, they cut and capped our bonuses and started paying them out at the end of the month versus the beginning. I'm losing over $1,000 a month while sales are up 120%. And every measurable stat in the store is up as well. So is this a normal process with retail during a tough time? And are other retailers experience the same thing? I don't know what to tell you, Jim. That's like the exact opposite of anything I would tell somebody, that your employees are your most important asset and that you want to hold on to them in this time when there's a lot of upheaval. And quite simply, if you were bonus, that usually means they were rewarding your extra efforts. And so, no, that's not normal. I would certainly talk to whoever your supervisor is, your regional manager, whatever. But to me, that sounds like things are not going as well for your company as you might think. And it's a cost-cutting move. They're trying to get rid of people because people who don't care will stay, which means the good people will leave. So I would say there's got to be something better for you. Sorry, I wish I had something better to say. Kara, I own a gift and home decor store. I'm thinking of offering a discount to a local designer stager on products for her clients in exchange for social media posts. A discount for her. Why don't you just pay her? I'm not quite sure, but key things to consider when entering into such a relationship. So, Kara, why do you think that she's great for social media would be my first question. Who does she follow on Facebook and LinkedIn, and who's her sources? How is she using Instagram? And why do you think that this is the one for you? It sounds more like you have a friend who does this and you've come to this arrangement. And remember, hiring friends usually means you can't fire them. So I think always comes down to what's their actual behind the scenes that they can do, and can they deliver? And more importantly, just giving a discount also doesn't sound like this is a high value play to me. So there you go. Daniel, at what point is a markup considered price gouging if the customer has been paying a certain price for weeks without the slightest pushback, specifically COVID-related items such as masks, not N95 in a gift shop environment? So I know that laws vary by state, but typically it's 20% over what most people would pay is usually considered price gouging. And if you're asking, my guess is maybe you're doing it, but you're saying these are on masks, which are not like, price gouging is something after like Katrina, a bottle of water that would normally have been $1 goes to $20. That's what price gouging is. That in a natural disaster or something like that, that's where it is. So I certainly would say I just don't see masks in that place. But if there's a real question about it, ask your lawyer. The fact that you're asking is interesting. Steve Green commented after this, and he said that, we've added a $20 extra surcharge for shipping our kayaks, which we never had before. That's not price gouging. It's a way to recoup your prices back. I have no problem with that, and I think that makes an awful lot of sense. Hey, thanks for joining in. If you like what I'm doing today, make sure if you're in LinkedIn, you give me the little claps, because LinkedIn needs claps. And Facebook needs thumbs up or hearts and love, because otherwise the algorithms don't see what's going on. And I need those algorithms or I don't reach my message, which is we are able to change the world by the people working and shopping in retail. But I need your help. So do me a favor, clap or thumbs up or whatever that's going to be for you, and whatever platform you're watching me in this morning. How's that? Cindy says, I own a quilt store. During the pandemic, there has been so much free educational content on social media, YouTube, or even email. There has, because that's what most of us have been preaching to all of you, which is you need to serve now to sell later. My question is, how do you get people to start paying for good education again when they've had so much of it free, whether it's good or not? So I run into that exact same thing, Cindy. I mean, there's plenty of people that will tell you what to do right now, and most of it's garbage out there, but people consume it. I see my fans and their friends of some of these people who I can't imagine you'd take advice from them, but it's free. And so what I would say to you in your store is you sell personal and private. That's the key. It's no different than Apple. Apple has their general lessons, but for the one-on-one now, they charge for that. And most camera stores do, and a lot of them do. So just because they know it doesn't mean they're going to do it, right? It's like people who buy the diet book and then say, so I'm going to lose 20 pounds. You're like, unless you pick it up multiple times, you actually have to read it and then follow it. So don't get discouraged. Just remember that if they have that interest, you can then take it the next level. So you might even do a live video to your followers and say, a lot of you might have seen videos of how to do this, but quite simply, that's the easy part. The hard part is being able to then go through 3 things that are hard and make a lot of choices and say, and to help you make that, you can certainly make an appointment with me where I, do personal coaching, something like that. That would be my suggestion to you. Shalava asked, do you think it's a good time to price up products to make up for the number of bills going down? I think what you're saying is it time for raising your prices? I think there's always a good time to raise prices on the things that move the needle the best. So if you're a coffee house and even you move it 50 cents, your margins go up. If you are selling, certain widgets a lot, a certain line, and you can do it, I say great. But that's going to mean that you have a sales process under it, because just raising your prices is going to piss off a lot of people. So I think I have a question on that in here as well. Let's see. I see your question, Schrock. I'm going to answer something similar to it in just a minute. Top fan Rebecca says, any impressions on growth opportunities within the broader retail profession? For example, supply chain management, sourcing, returns, CRM, any gaping holes or needs that stand out? So, Rebecca, that Macy's just fired 3,900 people at the admin, reducing their corporate count by a lot. And a lot of people are laying people off. There is a glut of talent right now. So I would be saying, look at whatever skills that you have and see if they can transfer to delivery or logistics or managing gig workers. That seems to be where there is demand. But make no mistake, if you have a job, I would not jump ship and say, oh, I'll find one. Now is the time to do your due diligence, find a company you want to work with, and then go after them. I hope that helps. Catherine, moving forward with COVID-19, how will retailers be convinced on retail sales training and necessity? I did not set you up on this question, Catherine, and I appreciate you. By the way, if you like what I'm doing, give me some applause on LinkedIn or give me some thumbs up and love on Facebook so that the algorithm is happy and it can take a break and start, adding to this. As far as how do you get retailers to do it, it's quite simple. You have less traffic and there's more fear and there's more employees who are freaking out about whether they will be able to have a job again, right? So there's going to be more people than ever selling from their own wallets. And I ask you, like I've asked on the retail assessment training quiz that I have on my site at retaildoc.com, how many of you are taking money out of your business? Now, right now, a lot of us are still putting money in, but realistically, are you going to be able to take out enough money to live the life you want? Or do you pretty much just have a job and you're bitter and you're like, it sucks to go to work every day? There's one way you can change that, which is to change up the way that you do work and actually sell what you're buying at markets. So, I don't know what it is, but when I talk to people and I say, you need retail sales training, there's this defensiveness, like I had just, besmirched their mother, or I had told them that I don't know what it is, but there's this whole defensiveness. We're great. Our employees love us. We're well trained. And yet I go into stores every day and all I say is, wow, that's a huge opportunity miss. How every garden center who has been telling me they're making money hand over fist has not been selling a package of potting soil or planting mix is beyond me. All the bike stores who are saying, oh, we're so slammed. We're just out of all the entry bikes. And you have all these other bikes sitting there, opportunity missed. Because ultimately, and let me go to the other one, which is we're so slammed, we don't have time to train. Oh, well, if you're so slammed, then you're probably too cheap to hire more people that actually would be able to engage a customer and be able to grow your average sale, because you are in this treadmill like a rat trying to just take care of all the business. And there's several of you have high season and low season, but I look at it as you've squandered the opportunity. You had the chance to touch every single customer and you didn't. You ended up, you need help? Go over the register. Oh, I've got it. And you think that's the job. So I don't get it. This is the time to brand your customers' butt that they'd only shop with you. There's one motorcycle that people actually tattoo the brand on their butt because they love it so much. That's Harley Davidson. Whether they're doing well or not is not the point. There's several other people that make motorcycles. Why are people willing to do that? Because they say, that's my brand. I doubt people are willing to brand their butt with your brand. When it gets bad enough, and it will, those of you who have been busy, it's going to peak. I can guarantee you. And then you're going to say, oh, we don't have enough business to justify training because we're happy being miserable. I'd rather be an ostrich and say like, oh no, I don't have time for that. I remember when I was much younger in my 20s and went to learn how to water ski, which by the way, do not do that when you're in your 20s or older, because you really have to get your body know what it's supposed to do. But I go through and I get up the first time and it's like, this is amazing. And I go down and I must have tried it 10 other times after that, right? And I'm being drugged under the water, holding on to this thing. And finally that little voice in my head says, only you can change this. Let go. And then it was like, oh, that's where a lot of you are. You are under the water, holding on, telling me, oh, but we're miserable and, I'm not making money. You can change it, but only you can change it. Until you have that realization, until you wake up and say, there's a better way. I'm training 10, 12,000 people around the world right now who are making it through COVID and telling me like, hey, we're coming back bigger and stronger. We're finding new ways to bonus our employees. But most of you are like, oh, we're so afraid. Get over it. Get up, put on your big boy pants, your big girl pants, and get sales training. Because I can guarantee you, everybody can do better. There is nobody, I don't care, you sell the highest end Tiffany jewelry, you sell bikes, you sell photography equipment, you sell plumbing parts. I don't care. Everybody can do different. But it's going to mean you have to change. And until you really want to change, you're going to be happy bitching and complaining that it's the economy, it's COVID, it's someone else, it's that person carries that one item that's, they're 5 miles from me and that's why. Great. We'll just keep putting all those excuses on you. It feels good. But at some point, you're going to say, this is bullshit. I'm done. And you're going to change. And I hope that's today. But if it isn't, God love you. All right. Nicole says, how are retailers handling their inventory this summer and looking into fall and winter? Are they adjusting vendors, canceling orders, moving dollars, introducing new items due to COVID, et cetera? What strategies are you seeing being made? Thanks, Bob. You rock. Oh, this is Nicole. So Nicole runs Retail Minded, and she's a great writer. You may know her and follow her, I hope. As reopenings are being paused in the last few days, I think you're going to see a lot of retailers are going to be canceling orders and pausing, which you should. There's nothing usual about retail right now. So, we're in an upside down world where left is right and all sorts of things are just in limbo. So my advice to everybody is stay lean, know your turns, know your profit margins, and for God's sake, buy SalesRx, my online sales training, because it's not about you going to trade shows or we did a Zoom meeting, so we saw everything the vendors had and we didn't have to travel. That's great. But how are you going to sell it? And what are you going to do when your employees buy the first 5 of the 12 that you bought and now at a 40% discount or something, and now you've got 7 that are just sitting there? That's what you have to have in your mind to be able to get rid of before you buy more things. I hope that helps. Evelyn says less traffic, then customer conversion should increase. Evelyn, you are totally right. It should. But I'm still seeing conversion rates when you look at the big companies that use those metrics is about the same or lower, which is totally wrong because all the lookers are online. If I was just looking around, I'm online. When I go into a store and I'm willing to have to wear a mask or social distance, I'm committed. So the conversion rate should absolutely go. You're exactly right. Yeah, Nicole says customer care is going to make the difference. Competition is only going to get tougher. You're exactly right. Good. I'm getting lost in some of the comments, and I don't want to do that to you. The people who comment on Saturday, you're my first priority. All right. Robert says emails aren't as effective. Texts are moderately effective. Newspaper ads, nope. Direct mail responses declining. Suggested marketing business. Robert, the number one way, I've said it 100 times, maybe it's 101, is through video ads and live video on Facebook. It gives you a chance to actually be a human being. It's authentic. But realistically, everything is all over the mark. I mean, even in pay-per-click world, unless you have something about COVID, search is just gone for most of the things that most of us would have been looking at. And I started to panic about it and then realized, like, oh, of course, people have different priorities right now. So you should certainly not do nothing, but email opens. Most people are still at their computers more often. We are glued to social media. So there's a lot of ways you can still reach your customer. That is, if you got an exceptional experience, but we're 20% off this weekend only. Oh, friends and family, 15% extra off. Those aren't going to work. If that's what your marketing is, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Cheryl, preach it. Thank you very much. Nicole, lean and profit, so important. I love your sales trainings. Every retailer I've ever spoken to has used it, has loved it. Nicole, you're the best. So again, look for Nicole Leanbach. She's with Retail Minded. Also on Instagram, she has great Instagram. Nancy says, lots of stores are selling masks now. What do you think about using them as advertising for our stores? Patterns that match what we sell with store info embroidered across the top. I think Etsy, we're reading that Etsy is like blown up on masks. Like people all over the world are ordering all kinds of masks. I think it's an interesting point, Nancy. I would love to see somebody who has had experience with it. The challenge for me is that if it's too detailed, it just draws attention. And I really don't want to draw attention to my face covering as much as I've seen people just put a simple smile. Trouble is that looks like Amazon. So trying not to make it look like Amazon. There's a whole thing in the Washington Post yesterday about guys don't like wearing masks because they don't look manly. So they're trying to get people to do, manly, like tougher looking masks. God, I wish we were not dealing with masks. I just wish we weren't. But the reality is we are. And as retailers, I don't know how we ever got drawn into this. But the reality is wear a mask, come into my store. That's it. If you don't, then don't come into my store. And if you don't take that option, I think we're seeing the results in a lot of states right now. You have to protect yourself and your employees. So I hope that helps. By the way, I had to do a shout out to the downtown DeLand Historic District, who did a promotion on their page, and it was like, retailers, show us your masks. So they showed all the retailers in the downtown area wearing masks, and that became their post. I'm like, that is awesome. So I hope some of you take that. I know a lot of downtown associations and civic-minded groups do that. But again, that's another way to put a positive on it instead of a shaming kind of a thing. Janet, any advice on how to move from our brick and mortar to online model? I'm a new listener, so apologies if this has already been discussed. Well, first off, Janet, thanks for being a new listener. I always love that. By the way, if you like what I have to say on your LinkedIn, give me some claps. Let me know you're there, and give me some love and on Facebook, so that the algorithm is talking to itself and saying, this guy rocks, which some of you may not agree with. And I'm not here to be your best friend. You're calling them up and commiserating about why it sucks to be you. I'm here to say, behold, there's a better way. Here's how to do it. And I'm giving you that message in the hopes that I can pull that ostrich head out of the sand. And instead of you thinking, oh, I'll be all right, you realize I have a lot of work to do, because that's what I'm doing every day, Monday through Sunday. It's how am I going to make my business better? And in fact, I'm working on some new things after this video as well, because we've all got to figure out it's a time of change. It's time of innovation. I need to own that instead of owning the past and being pulled backwards into what I should have, could have done. I start today with the first person that walks in the door. I start today with a Zoom meeting with all my employees. I start today by saying I am worth getting the price that it takes. I am the one in charge of my destiny. And if you don't believe that, you're probably already tuned off. So there you go. So Janet, your question, I think you should add an online component. I am not a believer of taking a bricks and mortar online. It is punishing online. The margins aren't there. The cost to acquire a new customer, people are expecting free shipping both ways. You probably don't have demand, and you probably don't have the SEO inclination to learn it, and the tools and all the things that cost a lot of money to be effective. So I just say find a Shopify or Square or Lightspeed POS or some of the others. They have ways that you can start off and do it. The key things to be aware of for your potential problems are, what are you going to put up there? How are you going to be transparent about how many you have in stock is exact? So if somebody sees it, they'll come down there. People are going forward, people are not going to risk going down to the store if they don't think you really have it. And they're probably not going to call because most of you aren't answering your phones either. I've experienced that on 3 different retailers yesterday, and I just don't get it. For God's sake, answer your damn phone, or make a way I can text you from Facebook, or go to Google and enable text to message so that people can actually get their question answered. I can't imagine how many of you are losing business because you are hard to deal with. The answer is not online. So I hope that helps. Shawnee says, I own a brick and mortar gift boutique, been in business since 2000. We do a very good job of adhering to CDC requirements. I have employees who are fantastic workers, but went off. They're attending large parties and gatherings without using COVID safely. I've seen their Facebook and Instagram pictures, so there's little to no COVID guidelines being used. In Texas, the positive rate is dramatically rising. So I asked my employees if they choose to attend larger parties, then I need to take them off the schedule the following week. All employees are part-time as of right now. I have 2 of my 15 employees in quarantine. How do I deal with employees not practicing COVID safely offline? I think the first thing is you have to have a very clear policy, and you have to have very well-trained managers on how to deal with it. I think you need to educate them exactly on why we wear masks and how it works. But it's honestly a very slippery slope that I think you start going down, because you could say the same thing about them not wearing a helmet on a motorcycle, or not wearing seatbelts, or drinking too much. And quite simply, I don't think you want to manage that. And I got another post last week from a guy, same thing. His store is doing all of this hand sanitizer and everything. He's behind him in the grocery store, and the kid doesn't have his mask on. He goes, where's his mask? He goes, I don't wear it when I'm off. Do you want to make yourself crazy with that? Because quite simply, there's a lot of panic, and I get it. But is that the best thing for you to focus on? I know it sucks. I wish I had a better answer. I just say stay with your business, educate everybody every day, have them wash their hands, understand it, wear the mask, and then realize that you don't know what their personal life is, and it's better that you don't try. It would be my suggestion. So I hope that helps. Taking a quick look on some of your questions before I sign off, I have one more thing I want to say to you. Sharon asks, how are you using Facebook to generate instant captions? I am using StreamYard for this. It's a third-party vendor to put my live videos on. That's why. Sarah says, what sort of welcoming signage are you recommending that's COVID effective? I don't know what is effective. I think just right in front, you say, we're protecting our customers and our employees, no mask, no service. And to me, there shouldn't be any wiggle room there. I get it. There are people that are just out and they want to scream at you, but are they really making you money? And if they are, I don't know what to tell you, because I think we are in a dangerous place. The USA, it's embarrassing that the USA is skidding back. I'm in New York. New York made the tough decision. A lot of people called the governor emperor and made all these disparaging remarks. In the end, we are reopening the greatest city in the world. And yet, people say, I don't have to, I don't want to, I'll be different. Well, it goes back to that idea of it affects everyone but me. I'm telling you, we are connected. We are a community. We have all got to get through this, or we don't. And that's going to start with you having that discussion with somebody who proudly says, I don't have to. And if they're working for you, just making sure that you are educating them. I hope that helps. I'm rocking another great shirt today. Thank you very much. I try. So there you go. I'm glad we've got so many of you joining in today from around the world. That is great. Gina, I had a screaming match happen between two, I think I can show this. I had a screaming match happen between customers. 2 stormed out. I asked the customer to put a mask on. Another jumped in. It was horrible. Gina, I know it's horrible, and I wish I had an answer for you. But what's more horrible is we go through and we just say, there's nothing I can do. And I'm sorry. Susan, our store had to close because of an employee's disregard for safety outside the workplace. Very different than wearing seatbelt or helmet. I'm there, Susan. But the reality is they still ended up getting it, and we don't know how we get it necessarily, right? So I just want to be careful that we're not getting so focused in employees' lives. Sorry about that. I think I can get rid of that now. I guess I can't. So there you go. I guess I have to go to another question to get it to show. All right. Ellen says, mask wearers here in South Africa are buying coordinated colors, and the mask is part of the wardrobe. Lots of business selling custom masks. Yeah, a great opportunity to get in and get ahead. That's great. So good. And I'm sure people are going to flail on me and tell me how off I am. And I got to be honest with you, when you want to post fake stuff to my site, you will be I will delete it. So just know that this is not, I believe I come from a bunch of scientists. The reality is here. We have to get over this or it's going to be much worse for all of us. All right. So my final little part here today to bring you back to the beginning is we are all struggling to hold this together as each day we are pumped with the adrenaline of fear and horrible stories, and yet another thing is happening, and you need to be afraid. Last week was the adrenaline rush of even toilets are going to kill us, that the spray from toilets is just possible to kill all of us. And then you happen to see a couple days later where scientists say, well, realistically, there's a lot of things that would have to happen. I think that a lot of things catch our attention, and we are looking everywhere trying to figure it out. But in the end, the only thing that's going to make you money is thinking about your four walls and how you are going to create an exceptional experience. Remember, you've gotten through much worse, or at least as much fear as we are living through right now. Let's turn it off. Let's turn off the news. Let's not find these little battles to just be able to rail at people. Let's find a way that we can go through and say we are more alike than we are different. We are all different, but in that we share a common humanity and a hopefulness. And with that, I think we can go out there and do the work, which is every day to do what you need to do, which if I can be part of that and empower you, I am totally there. And if not, and you feel like I'm wrong and you don't agree, well, then great, don't follow me. But there's a better way right now. There's a better way than getting dragged down into looking backwards and finding these little tribal things. The way forward is creating more community through people in your store, more community on your main street, more community on your tribe that follows you on Facebook, and we together can change the world. Now let's get off of things that aren't important. Let's go out there and work together to build something better. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. You've joined me here on June 28th, and I appreciate you liking me. If you want to go through and share this, I certainly appreciate it. Give me some applause on LinkedIn or give me some love on Facebook. That'd be great. To find out more about me, you just go to retaildoc.com, and you can find out more about my online retail sales training, salesrx.com as well. I will be testing out some new ways of advertising, so you might just see a few ads from me here and there as I try to, again, innovate and find new ways to get that hope across to more people to say, behold, you can do better than holding on to the past. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks for joining me again.